Hello students, you're welcome to this exercise on Java aliasing. So this is an exercise using programming language to demonstrate how aliasing is used in Java code. So let's begin. So before we go on to look at the Java codes, let's look at how aliasing is as was taught to you in the class. So you remember this diagram. So before, variable 2 equal to variable 1, and you can see that this variable 1 has an object stored to it, a value. So, but this variable 2 and variable 3 are referring, or they reference the same value. So they are aliases. But let's look at what we have here. Supposing variable 2 or variable 1 rather is assigned to variable 2 using equality sign. What happens? So if we look at this, it means variable 2 has now changed value and referring to the same object or value that variable 1 is referring to. So in this case, they are aliases. Supposing there's a value here 2, it means that variable 1 is equal to 2 as well as variable 2 is equal to 2. But of course, they are not the same thing as variable 3. But in many cases, they may be, this may refer to another thing. So it depends on many things. So there are complications in it. So it's just a simple example, but you know it's more than this, as you were taught. This is just a recap on what aliasing is all about. So let's go and look at some of the implementation in Java codes. So we're using the banking account code, which I'm sure you are familiar with, and is uploaded on your on QM+. So if you look at this, we have a class, a Java class, public class bank account, and under it there are some variables, instance variables actually. I hope you still remember what are instance variables. So instance variables are variables that are declared immediately after a class, and they are what? They are not local variables. Local variables are the ones that are declared directly under a method. For example, this is a what? You can see that this is a bank account constructor, which is a method, and it has some variables here. So those variables are local to this constructor. However, so in this variable, as we know, instance variables, when you declare them, they have a default value, unlike what? Unlike local variables, you have to declare them and give them explicit default variables. So for example, private int ACCA number, that is account number, it will have what? Because it's an integer, it will have a default value of 0. And string ACCA name, it will have a default value of null because it's a string. And double balance will have a default value of 0.0. So that makes them what? Instance variables. They will have default variables. So that is not the point that we're trying to make here, but we're trying to see how aliasing made. You can see under this already we have this account number is equal to account number. Of course, what it means is that the account number as declared as the parameters here, as the arguments here, is equal to this account number that what was declared here. As I said, under local variables, you have to explicitly assign a value. We know that this is 0, so it means this is equal to 0, and this is what? Equal to null, and this balance is equal to dot 0 because it's not here, so it has to be explicitly given to it. But of course, we know the balance here. You could have said this balance, but you need to show that it has a value. So now you can, so it can return a variable, and then let's look at this balance. It was what? It was 0.0. It has come back to what? Balance plus amount. So you can see that it has changed its value. As we can see, there is amount here. So amount is assigned to it, to this variable. And if amount is in, of course, it's a variable, local variable assigned somewhere, so it will be pointing to this balance. So let's go on, and you can see that things are changing. So in Boolean, so you can see that there is you define a method, remove. Let's go back a little bit. Of course, we didn't talk about these methods. This constructor, there's a method int get account number, you get account name, and then you get the balance, and then you add. So we can see now we have another method that removes the amount. That is, if you want to what? To get money from it, you remove, and then there's a print. We have deposit. If you want to put in money, as you know, in banking system, you deposit money before you can remove money. And so you have some conditions here, and so on and so forth. So you can see things are changing. Variables are being, if you have money in your account and you remove it, it will refer to a different amount, and then you can print it. And so you have, this is the exercise. We declare it like public class exercise 1. Don't worry about it. So now you can see that account 1 dot deposit. So you want to put in money. So it means it's similar to assigning, to adding account 1 equal to plus account 1 plus 500. So it's another way of assigning a value to ACC1. So it's another way of aliasing, which can have effects if AC1 and maybe there's another account AC2, if they are related, they will have 500 added to both of them. And then we have exercise 2. We can see similar thing happening again with withdrawals. So you add, you withdraw, okay, 200, and then you deposit again 700, and so on. And so you see it's changing the variable A. So you can see that AC1 withdraw this, AC2 dot deposit, AC2 withdraw. So if we say AC1 and AC2 should what? Should be assigned to each other. They become aliases. And then we have similar thing happening again here. So the whole concept is just to show you actually know what is aliasing. It's just that we're just putting it into context. So for example, let's come here. You can see that here we have bank account ACC1 equal to new bank account. So it's creating an instance, the ACC1. So you see, and bank account equals to AC2 is equal to what? AC1. So ACC2 is equals to ACC1. So they are aliases, which means they will refer to the same thing. So if you add something, if you deposit this, AC1 deposit 500, it will automatically go and deposit it to AC2. As well as if you deposit something to AC2, it will go and deposit to AC1. So I hope you now see how changes can be, it can be changing. So this is all, so it's the same principle. So this is just how we just want to demonstrate what aliasing is all about. So is by calling .acc1.deposit and saying AC2 is equal to AC1, they are different. So this one will not affect, this one will affect these two, but if AC1 is linked to AC3 in the way using dot method to call it and add it, then it will affect it. But if not, it will not affect ACC3 if we have ACC3. So it's the same way. Please, I hope now you understand a little bit on how aliasing works. But it can be confusing. The best way to learn is you run all these codes, and see the results and keep changing the results yourself. That is the best way to learn. You cannot understand it fully by just following these instructions that I'm giving and then thinking that you know. You will never know it until you run this code yourself. So I advise you run it and observe the results, and then you will understand how values change when there is aliasing. I hope this will guide you to understand aliasing very well from the results. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please send it to us on QM+. Thank you and bye.